Hey guys, Rob with RubberToe Assembly here with another 20 by 8 lifetime shed video. Today we're going to show you how to do these trusses. As you can see there, great shot right off the bat. Step number 2 here, truss assembly. All the stuff is laid out on cardboard, as you can see. Doesn't that look great? That's what you want, you guys. You have all kinds of trusses there. You got short trusses, longer trusses. Most of them are longer. Anyways, there's all your hardware. It's all going to come together nice here. You just take a connector, truss connector bracket, and you run these screws through just like you see there. And you're going to make what, 4 of these, I think, if it's a normal one. Yeah, it looks like a normal truss, which is the same channel on both sides. And you just put little nut end caps in on the end, just like you see there. You see all the hardware's there. And then this one, let's see, is it a notched one? No, it looks like a regular one. Okay, 2 of the same would be a regular one. So you're gonna make 4 of these for this particular one, and then 2 notched trusses for where your doors are going to be in the middle, each side of the door, and then 1 by itself. It's going to be a center truss. It's going to be a lot different, not completely different, but pretty different from all the others. So here you're just putting your other side on. Both of these sides are the same. It's going to be a normal truss. And I always run the 2 things. See how I'm holding there with my fingers on the bottom of each screw, holding them in there so they don't fall out the bottom. Well, I just merely flip it over like that. You can see how I'm sitting there and making it look nice and easy, and plenty of room. You don't want stuff around you too close where this thing's going to bang into it or scratch any surfaces or anything. That's why I laid the cardboard down nice. So these screws here, you want to make sure they're small little screws. You want to make sure they run from the inside out of your channel, because your roof tiles are going to fit in that channel, and you can't have that little nut sticking out on both sides pointing in. You won't be able to get your roof in. At least I don't see how you're going to get your roof in if you do that. So see, the other side goes from the inside of the channel pointing outward, and then you get your little nut cap on the end there. And when you go back later and tighten these up, you just stick a fairly long screwdriver, or medium sized screwdriver, just not a stubby one. I guess you could do it with a stubby screwdriver, but it's very awkward. You just stick a screwdriver in there, Phillips head, on those on the outside, where I'm doing right now on this side too. They're the same, both sides of this. You just put the screw in from the inside pointing out. Many people make a mistake. They just put the screw in and they're not paying attention which direction it's facing. But yeah, these channels, your roof tiles, plastic roof tiles, are going to sit in these channels. So then you have your center tube bolt. It's really long, and you're going to run a short truss brace. What that's called. See there, you just run it through the top connector, through that center hole in your short truss brace, and then into the long truss brace at the bottom, and through that, and then you get another little black cap on there. And you just hand tighten these for now. I come back later on with a 7/16 socket and wrench on the other end and tighten those up pretty good later on down the line, along with the little screws that I put in. And you don't want to tighten them too much, just barely. These top ones right here with a little 3/8 on one side and the top just barely. You do not want to crimp these at all. The drill gun torque is set super light on this. It's best to do this by hand if you want, but I've done this so many times. I just zip, just one, barely pull the trigger there. Yeah, and see how it's not crimped at all, because you want to drop your roof tiles, like I said, in that channel, and so you don't want to crimp that channel. And here's what I was telling you about. You put the screwdriver in from the inside pointing out, and then zip. You can tighten these a little tighter, but not super tight, because they have snapped when you forget to set the torque on the drill and it's too tight. So you don't want to break any of these things. So then you go with the 7/16 on the top, just like you see there, and a wrench at the bottom, 7/16 to match, and boom, tighten that one nice and snug, and then you're complete. And the instructions show putting this short truss brace on right here, boom, boom, where I'm just pointing the fingers, and the other side, boom, boom, right there, those 4 areas. You're going to get little self-tapper tech screws later on down the line. I just let that sit in the channel of the truss right there in the brace, and then there you go. You have one regular truss brace ready to go. Later on, when the roof is up and it's all built, you got your snow load braces to screw on there, and that center brace, that's when I screw that on there. You don't have to unscrew any screws. Here's a shot of your 2 channeled, or your 2 notched channels right there, highlighted. Pull to the side, get those ready. And then here is your center truss, all the hardware there laid out, nice, perfect. Nice on the cardboard for protection, so you can literally sit on the inside of the cardboard, the clean side, if you will. And there you see your pieces for your center truss. You see there's that short piece, and then there's a tube on the left, long tube, support tube, and your other truss channels. Alright, so that's all laid out. I'm gonna put that one together here. It goes together a little bit different from the other ones, but the same in ways too. There's your connector, top connector, that's the same, and you connect it to this piece. See the hole at the bottom there? That hole is for your support tube is going to run through that hole I just pointed to. Yeah, right there. That tube you see on the left there, at the bottom left of all the channels lined up there, that long tube is going to go across, slide through there. Sometimes it could be a hassle getting it through because of the paint that's on there, but you just wiggle it through, spin it if you will, and later on down the line it should be, I'll show you how it goes through. So the other end of the connector here, the top connector, is going to get a regular long back piece. This is going to be the back part of the truss, and the one with the hole there in the front where my foot is, that front piece, that's going to be where your doors are at. It's going to be this, and right in the center of your doors. This truss is going to be right in the center where your doors are. So just keep that in mind, and you just run the screws just like I did on the other one. I have my fingers underneath there holding the screws in so they don't slide out the bottom, and then I just run 2 little nuts on the top just like that. So that's all connected. I'll hand tighten for now, come back later and tighten it just like I did that one a minute ago. And then here you put your long truss brace at the bottom just like the other ones. You find where those little holes are right there, and you put just like the others, those small screws from the inside pointing outward. Line it up nice, and then the left side is going to get that small bracket that you see there. It's going to be on the just above the doors. But here you put these screws through same way, from the inside out, pointing up. I'm holding the screw. Put the little cap nut on there, and then I flip it, holding everything together. It's kind of tricky sometimes, this one, all of them actually, but then I put the other one inside, just so this side's already attached, at least, so it can hold it there where in place where it's supposed to go for me. Then I can focus on the front of the truss. This will help too if I put a rod down the middle. But you're going to get a short truss brace. Yeah, almost forgot that. Run that through the small one. You can always come by if you forget these and put them on later. The instructions actually show you unscrewing the screw that you see me there screwing on there. The instructions say unscrew that later on and then put this thing in there and then screw it back together. I just think this is a better way to do it. You know, when you're building the truss, put these things on all at the same time. It's way easier. And then here you're going to pass through 3 parts here. Your truss brace, the actual truss, and then this little bracket. And it gets a regular screw pointing the same direction as all the other screws. Keep it nice. And this is normally a pretty difficult part, but you're going through all 3 pieces: the brace, the actual truss, and then this little bracket. Yeah, it swings and it goes all the way through. Okay, cool. All the way through, both sides, 3 pieces one, and then 3 pieces on the other. And that is your vertical truss brace, that little short swinging thing in the front. So now you're attaching this as your little L bracket, labeled AHT, I believe, in the book. Yeah, and you just put it on as so, and you put it on your horizontal truss brace, which I'm going to put on, but I put this little bracket on ahead of time just like you see from the outside pointing in, and you just put a little Phillips head screwdriver on one side and a little 3/8 on the other, just like you see here. This is my way of doing it. I hold that in there, that little channel, it kind of locks it in there, and you can just hand tighten this with a screwdriver or the drill gun with low torque. And I think the instructions say hand tighten this. Yep, it's nice and snug, and make sure that thing slid back too, that little L bracket. Yep, slid back. See how it has about an inch, about a finger space from the edge? That's going to connect to your gable, small gable on the front doors. Anyways, you connect it to your vertical truss bracket that's swinging there, and then you see one long screw and one short screw is what you have left. And the long screw is going to go into your truss channel right there, as you see. All these screws, if you point them in the same direction, at least make it look nice and neat. You know, like, looks better. And connect this one here, just like all the others. And on the other side, it's going to get the silver nut. There's two of these silver nuts. One goes here, as you see. It's just like the others, but it doesn't have that little plastic nut cap on it, so you can screw it tighter down, a little bit farther down. And then here's your short screw that's going to go through right here, your vertical truss, or your horizontal truss brace and your vertical truss brace connected right there. And that's where your last silver nut goes on the end of that, and you can screw that down a little bit tighter too. So there's your center truss. As you can see, it looks different from all the others, and it has the support tube that's going to be put in. Most of the time I just set this aside and tighten all these trusses, and just go through and tighten all the screws. Don't over tighten them, that's for sure, just snug them up. And then, but here I'm showing you, this is where your support tube goes through. Boom, that hole I was telling you, all the way through, and then you have equal distance on both sides. So that's going to, that support tube is going to attach to your two notched trusses that are going to be on the edges of the doors. And this is going to be in the center of your doors, and it's going to connect to the top gable. So, yep, going right through here, and then just zip these on. Really low torque here, as you can see. I would do these by hand if it's your first time doing it, so you can get a feel for, you know, when the screw is tight but it's not crimping it. And there you have it, truss assemblies made easy for the 20-footer shed, 20 by 8. There's a nice sky shot there. Alright, thanks for watching, you guys. Please like and subscribe. RubberToe Assembly over and out. Thanks, take care.